Good afternoon. I am Dr. Marc Latta. It's awesome to be here before you today. I'm hoping that the audience is absolutely full and you're here for something that's exciting. And I think it's something that's very, really important topic that I'm going to talk about today. I was born in Hillsborough, North Carolina, farm country boy, and was blessed to be able to go to college. I had a Division I football scholarship, graduated with a bachelor's degree in biological sciences and education. I went back home and was teaching eighth grade health and science to the community where I grew up. And unfortunately, I needed a little more money. So I went back to school and entered into a PhD program in infectious disease epidemiology. From there, I then went and got a further master's degree from Duke University in the physician associate program. I did a general surgery residency in the Bronx, New York at Montefiore Hospital, Albert Einstein College System. From there, I began, the life that I expected for me to have. That's gone very well. I'm married with 3 kids and was actually doing very well in life. And, the funny thing is one of the worst moments, and I have to say the worst moments in my life is not being able to recognize who I am. And it sounds weird, especially with all the success. And I'm proud of my success. But there was a time in my life when I had some pretty tragic things to happen. And for me at the time, I had no idea that they were truly tragedy because in my profession, I do critical care cardiac surgery. I work in the intensive care unit, and life and death is one of those things I deal with all the time. But in 2018, my brother, my older brother, my best friend, someone who's been a part of my life for, at that time, 50 years, and he was murdered. He was taken away from this earth, taken away from me. Married with 3 kids, a mother who, had a very strong relationship with my brother. And I felt that I needed to be strong. So I made sure that my family was straight. My father, as the tragedy goes, my father actually found my brother murdered. So if you imagine the mental set that goes with finding your son not alive. Um, about 3 months after that, my mother, she had a stroke, and she had a stroke because her blood pressure went up because she was still concerned and grieving my brother. So as you can imagine, just a few months later, and I live now in Delaware. She lives in North Carolina. I went back and forth to take care of her because again, my brother wasn't there. 2 years after that, and the irony of it is February 20th. That's today, February 20th. That's the day that my mother got her wings in 2020. I'm blessed to have had all the years I had with her, but she died secondary to the trauma of my brother. Um, about 3 or 4 weeks after that, I had to have surgery myself on my hand, and there was an issue with that. I came out without any feeling and lack of movement, which for me, being a cardiac surgery physician associate, just changed my whole world, changed my whole life because I could not operate anymore. You would think that would be very devastating, but for me, I just pushed through. I did all the things that a man is supposed to do. I pushed through. I kept the cape on. I kept everybody moving. Lo and behold, even as a physician, there were some signs of some mental illness that I didn't even recognize. And that's one of the things in this talk that I hope you realize that even in these situations, not all mental illness, when we talk about mental health matters, will exhibit themselves with symptoms. Depends on, again, your affect in dealing with things. And for me, being a country boy, I'm used to going through pain. Being a football player, I'm used to dealing with pain. So this emotional side um, took me to a point where I've just felt that I may not have been enough. So as you can see behind me, it says, I am enough. You see my shirt, it says, I am enough. And I really want you to understand that because what we're going to talk today about is mental health. Who I am, how successful I am. Still, it came out to a point where I was questioning who I was. That irritability got to the point where some people didn't even want to be around me. And so, in feeling that and having going through those signs of depression, I think is really important that we talk about that, especially with our younger population as well as our adult population. So, I want to start out just saying again, I am enough. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up a couple of slides here. Sorry about that. Okay. So I again am Dr. Marc Latta. Black Lives Matter and Black mental health matters. We're going to start out with a quick video.
I was always taught to be strong in this world, told to never let my guard down because at any moment I could be attacked without a moment's notice, that my skin made me a target. Skin that has persevered through many trials and tribulations, from seeing my mama raped by landlords, to my father being beaten and stripped of his manhood, to my brothers and sisters being separated into jobs for this bigger system. My skin has always been under attack. Yet somehow we prevailed through it all, through all the lynchings, literacy tests, new Jim Crows, war on drugs, the gentrifications, police brutalities, food deserts, mass incarcerations. We survived and adapted and pushed to change because our very existence depended on it. Our very existence depends on this black strength. Strength that has carried us for decades, but is undermining an important aspect of our humanity and feeding in on itself. Being strong all the time took away our ability to speak about our weaknesses, our sadness, our mental illnesses. This silence is killing us. On top of that, we lack proper mental health care access and endure mistreatments by medical professionals who cannot relate to us in their practice. On top of that, we stigmatize mental illness to preserve this place of our strength, damaging ourselves, and among black children observing a spike in suicide rates because they may feel that their place in heaven is way better than their place here today, because when black life isn't valued enough for professional help, adequate housing, or even breathing, life here degrades in value in comparison to life after. Black bodies, strong black souls are floating through the wind, seamlessly letting go. Strong black bodies are screaming for help, but suffering in silence and being socially and systematically being put on quiet. Black souls are strong, but we do need help when we do fall through the cracks. That is why I want you to know that you can patch things up with me. All right, we can kick it back like it was a drive-through movie in the 1970s. We could get some help from people who actually understand us, refute our standards of stigmatizing mental illness, and fight against the structures that chronically misdiagnose what this really is. Fight against the racism that brings up our mental health issues and lowers our treatment options, bringing us one step closer to seeing no other option. I want us to see that we have a way to heal this wound that has been widening ever since day one with no means of contracting. I want us to know that the seed that we sow today is the harvest we reap tomorrow. And when we finally reap, we can find peace in these moments, noticing that the danger isn't gone, but we finally have a place where it feels like it is, the grounding of black bodies.
keep going. I'll be fine once I get it.
I dealt with suicide for the past 5 years. You know, loneliness is a terrible, terrible thing, man. And if you don't know how to conquer it, it can eat you alive. Okay.
It's time to talk. It's time to change.
When I played football, that was my language. That's how I communicated. And when that was taken away from me, I just felt like I was nothing. I was no one.
You know, you got so much responsibility as an athlete to your team. You know, you got to play at a certain level, and your teammates counting on you. You got the pressure from the media.
You know, when you experience the highs, and obviously you're going to experience the lows, and it's coping with the lows that is the most difficult part.
When, you know, I got into my state, it hit me like a brick.
Was that
I
because
didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to think differently of me.
When I was playing rugby, my feet were not planted deep, they were shallow. Anything was knocking me around, and I felt like it was a balancing act. I had to fight against this, fight against this, fight against this, and hold on and survive and, you know, win a game, and it was just, thank God for that, let's move on.
Yeah.
I suffer from depression. Depression is with me on a daily basis. It is time for sport to accept its responsibility with this issue.
There's records, there's numbers that I'm really close to, and of course I feel pressure, but I will play, I will fight, and I will keep going on.
And my thoughts of wanting to take my life, they don't define me, and they will never define me, and they'll never win.
Struggles are going to happen in life. You know, you're going to get punched in the mouth at some point, but understand that you can get back up, dust yourself off, and get back out there.
And everybody's going through something, and everybody, you know, has things that you can't see, you can't touch, that, you know, they're walking around with every day.
If your eyes hurt, you go to the opticians. If your head's hurt, and you go and see someone about mental health, it'd be nice just to let it out rather than keeping it in. Because the more you keep it in, the more you explode.
I don't know why I opened up and talked about it, but I guess I was just sick and tired of just having it inside of me for 20 plus years, and I was ready to make a change. I'm glad I got through it.
Okay, and we're back, and I am very sorry. I just was informed that I went through my slides and it was muted. I don't know how much time we have. However, again, I just want to reiterate that the importance of mental health, being able to emphasize us being culturally responsive, having early intervention is very critical to addressing the mental health needs of our children as well as for adults. During those slides, although you didn't hear my voice, I hope it was slow enough that you could at least read through them. Just going over again, the anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, all those things are common issues and illnesses within our community. And, you know, we show that, you know, the face of mental illness is not someone you think that is disheveled, someone who looks, as they say, crazy. Mental health involves an everyday person. Just as you saw the athletes, as you saw Kid Cudi in the video, people that go through a daily basis, but do have some issues that, you know, may need some mental health help. And that's through counseling. That is through having a professional. This one slide that I showed about spiritual health, I think spiritual health is very important, but within our communities, I think that prayer is very important. Prayer helps with our ability to deal with some of illness. However, it is not the help. So I think prayer in addition to therapy is absolutely important. Again, some of the warning signs that we look at in ourselves as well as with the children, we have to know that mental health issues with African-American children does include changes in behavior, mood, social withdrawal, irritability, difficulty in exhibiting their true self. It's also important for us to provide open communication where we can get in with our children and on a daily basis have a conversation at the end of their day so that we can figure out, you know, if their day was good, if their day was bad. And it has to be more than just, oh, it was okay. You ask them, well, what made it okay? What made it better than yesterday? What made it worse than yesterday? So that communication and creating a safe space for your children to talk to you. Let's not demean them. Let's not make them feel bad for having emotions. Emotions are very important. Emotions should be more than just sadness and happiness and anger. They should be able to exhibit all the emotions that they can and be in a safe place to do it. Building resilience, children should be able to develop coping skills that help them handle their day and handle other things that may throw them off. Teaching problem-solving skills and promoting a growth mindset. So it's really important for us to do that. And as we closed off, we talked about physical activity, getting a hobby, doing those things that you can exhibit and push out energy and get in a space where you are comfortable. So again, I just kind of wrapped that up and gave a quick summary. Again, I'm sorry that the sound wasn't there. I guess maybe it was good you didn't hear my voice, but I gave specific examples on each slide. But if you were able to read it, the take-home message is, I am enough. I am absolutely enough. So I'm not sure if there are any questions that anyone has. Feel free, I think, to type into the chat and we can talk about it. Okay, if there are no questions, again, I am Dr. Marc Latta. I think it's important, again, that you speak with your parents' children, children speak with your kids, open up about things, and again, it's okay not to be okay. So this is my presentation, Mental Health in the African American Community.